Well, that just brings up a whole nother big question. So what does that do to our, do we know it all or?
Not yet.
The only thing it mostly does is inject some uncertainty into the next 5 years. I would say like 25% uncertainty. So I reached out to New Lexington and Waverly today. They were the cities that lost city status last time, and as well as put the county on notice that we'd like to challenge the results. So the two-pronged attack that all of City Hall, I'm hoping Council too will support. I'm sure the employees, everyone will want to do is to challenge the results, find the people we missed, and at the same time prepare for what that means for us. And I also sent a question to Bob Toy about what his read of the situation is. So
Maybe, I guess find it hard
number,
to figure.
like, is it 100,000? Is it 50,000? I mean, do we have any?
well, it'll depend on
Idea.
it'll depend on the state's decision. Depends how the state reads their own case law. Gary Hunter and Bob seem very confident that our charter will rule when it comes to income tax, and the state limits the income tax on villages to 1%, which of course is 45% less than ours right now. So
I didn't
if
know
our
that.
charter,
I didn't know that. I was thinking money from the actual state. I didn't know anything about the income tax.
oh yeah,
Our charter would overrule that, wouldn't it? Because we.
That's our hope,
Under our form of government, we would still maintain the city status as that form of government, but we would probably lose a little bit of money from the state, but our income tax should stay the same.
that's the hope. We just want to inject confidence. We want to find confidence on those answers.
I mean, comes in, it's what, it's less than 400 people.
There's 388. And of course, then the other side is the challenging the results side. We also want to figure out what does that look like and what do we got to do, because we'll go the distance. I don't think anyone. The question I had for Bob Toy was in a conversation with the mayor of Athens. He said his read with his legal department was that the highest elected official at the city would have to officially challenge it on paper. They think it's me because the council president's an appointed position within council. And of course, Scott is appointed by council as well. Now, I don't know if it is, but whoever it is, we just need to make sure we know who it is and then make that challenge. So we just need to get who it is, put on letterhead, and start that process.
Again, that would revert back to our charter, so I think Tony would be the highest ranking.
Could be. I'm just saying that's what the conversations were today.
I guess, so do we need to, like, when we're approving all this stuff, do we need to, because we won't know before December, right? So we need to, like,
Right.
kind of plan on that a little as we're adding things to the budget, I guess, is my point.
I mean, I think the smartest way will be taken in as a risk factor, but I'm hopeful that our city attorney can solidify answers for us within a few weeks is my hope. So,
okay.
and hopefully Waverly and New Lexington can help provide some guidance as well, since they've both done this process.
Well, that's gonna make my next thing sound bad, but I would like you to, I mean, if everybody agrees, I would like to see if we could go ahead and get that Parade of the Hills thing in motion that we talked about. Maybe half out of the general fund, half out of the economic development.
How much are we talking about?
I would like to go 5,000.
To sponsor the Parade of the Hills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't we cover that with all economic development?
That should be,
I would think so.
wouldn't it?
We can cover that
I
all
just didn't
economic.
know if it could take that big a hit. Or...
It could right now. I mean, it's
Well,
probably got
what else
20,000.
we spend the economic guide?
Fireworks. I
Right
think.
now it's fireworks, and then also we're working up and talking to folks about getting a consolidated sign, at least coming in from this end of town. You know, like a welcome to Nelsonville instead of the 3 different rusted chain link fence things. The whole, yeah. So get rid of all those, consolidate it into one nice looking
sign.
that kind of matches the theme of the archway coming into down there by Rocky on Rocky Boot Way.
And I guess the last thing that I had, are we able to try and finish up the previous attorney's bills tonight? Just get them out of the way for the most part.
So we talked to our attorney now, and there's still a lot of unanswered questions. We were just recently billed for something that goes directly against his contract and a contract with the USDA. Was it USDA or WPC? The one about um,
The title fee.
yeah, the title fee.
Yeah.
And that goes there, and the rest of it goes against his contract. So it's my understanding that we have an option to challenge through the Supreme Court what we pay and able to come up with a settlement. So we haven't opened that can yet, but it is an option we have to go forward. Basically, we present what we think, he can present what he thinks, and then they'll just make the determination. Boom. If we do nothing, he could sue us, which he could, and it would still go to that same exact process to the Supreme Court, and they would say, here's your case, here's your case, here's what you're paying. So that's the direction I think we need to go in next, is just to get that settled out in the court.
Was there is that I guess, is a whole entire thing, or can we pay him the sewer part, pay him the things we know, just get that over with, get it done, and go on with the rest, or is that a whole entire thing if you go to the Supreme Court?
It's my understanding that'd be a whole entire thing. However, if I'm wrong, Taylor, please jump in. I know the biggest issue, and this is, I still don't think been answered, is who's going to approve that? Because I can't approve something that was done when I lived in England, and that would just not be possible.
So are you actually to approve, I mean, I don't know, I'm just asking, are you to approve to pay it or that it was done?
Well, to pay it it's the same, right? So I say,
Well, I mean, I don't know. Is it the same?
yes, because I would not sign it unless the work was done. That's my only thing. I'm basically saying that this is approved for payment, and I wouldn't do approved for payment until we receive the goods. And then the auditor goes in and makes sure we have the money in the fund, and then executes payment and a few other things. True, or false?
So could maybe we have an update then by the next finance
Council
meeting,
could-
maybe?
Council could approve, but I think if there is questions about the bill, then it should just go to the court thing. We're out of it. The court can decide, and
I think that's the right way to go in the point of least contention. What I don't know is, do we need your permit? Actually, that's another question. Do we need their permission for you and I to start doing that?
I
gonna
would
make-
say no.
I don't think so,
I don't
because you
think
guys
so.
are gonna be the ones that are, but I mean, if council has to approve it because you can't, and I would imagine that could happen, but if you're contesting or questioning certain parts of the bill, I don't know if you need council permission or not to do that, but we can certainly get it.
I wouldn't be comfortable.
'Cause I
making
think
such a step
everybody's-
without it,
Okay.
to be honest.
I think everybody's on board with, getting it settled.
Just get, yeah, that's why.
So if that's what it takes to get it settled, then so be it.
Well, I mean, you have most of the data collected and consolidated anyways. I think we just present it over to Bob and say, all right, what's the next step?
Well, Bob's kind of told us that when we were talking in here that one time, I want to say maybe is the
If not, then, they arbitrate and say, okay, this is what is fair, or, you take the risk. If you don't go there, then you end up in a lawsuit. Blah, blah,
Probably
blah.
gonna end up being sued anyway.
Well, I don't know if you can be after they rule.
So what Bob explained to us, Corey, was if we don't pay, we'll likely get sued. And if we do want to pay, we need to go straight to the Supreme Court, say, here's our evidence, he'll present his evidence, and they'll make a determination. And then
So
if
we'll
we,
meet in the middle.
right, and if that doesn't happen, then he can sue us, and we still end up at the exact same place showing our stuff one way or the other. So it's,
And how much are we paying for that? Arbitration.
well, right, so we haven't taken the first steps forward to, we have the data gathered, but we haven't taken that next step to actually contact the court and go to that next level. So, because I don't know what's required from you, if we need an ordinance or a resolution for us to be representatives of the city, or does Bob have to be it, or one of you guys? I don't know what, or does it have to be somebody else completely? I don't know what that right answer is, but that's where we're at on the situation.
Yeah, that's fine. We can move it to Bob and have him, I'd take his recommendation You know, if you need someone from council, I'll be that guy, I don't care. Like me. You can be mad at me.
I don't think it's just matter, I think Taylor or Scott could just send the information. Well, now I'm sure Bob would probably have to represent us as.
Yeah, but it needs, I think we need to make sure that, you know, we are at least brought into that discussion, so we ensure that we have
Oh,
all the
yeah,
bullet points on what we're presenting as far as our evidence, so.
Ours is pretty cut and dry when we receive the bill, what the contract says. And,
Which he wrote, his contract, he wrote it out.
correct, sir. Yes, sir.
Anyway,
Okay, so this is all I had, if you guys need. to know.
Let me go through, or do you want to go?
you have any more?
You got more.
The first one is easy. So at the beginning of the year, council approved me to negotiate up to $70,000 for dispatch services with Hucking College. I countered, because their original proposal was 75. They did not accept our proposal of 70. They want 75. And also there was a point in the contract that myself and I wasn't comfortable with, nor was at the time Gary Hunter. And that was the wording in there as far as splitting the cost 50-50. So what we have now, what they've proposed now is a 1-year contract that can be renewed every year. And it also spells out the responsibilities back and forth as far as what Chief Fitch provides them and what Chief Timms provides to us. So right now it's been a flawless relationship, especially in the crazy incidents we've had in the last 6 months. Either one of them was there or the other one were waiting on them. I mean, it's just worked out really well. So I'm asking, we've already set aside the 75K to adjust that ordinance, or if we need a whole new appropriation just to pay the 75,000. And then they were also kind enough to adjust the dates for us from summer to summer. So, which is a win.
I thought we already approved it, so I wouldn't know why we need
Yeah.
a new one.
You just approved 70,000. You didn't approve me to pay 75,000.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I'm fine with the 75, I think that it's,
Yeah, either way, it's a bargain. So, I mean, the wording before was, that, you know, that we split the cost. That
which
could be-
I get that, I understand.
Yeah, that could be
But,
unknown sometimes.
So yeah, I'm all right with that.
If you're okay with that, I'll ask Bob to put that on
Yep,
suspension of the rules.
Carly?
I'm already working on it. I've got a running email going.
Oh, okay. Let's see. So during police and fire, actually, nope, sewer. So reverse back to when you guys gave me the approval to negotiate, hiring a new operator of record for the wastewater treatment plant. And, you gave me the authorization to negotiate up to $25 an hour and then provide a step system and bring it back to you. So this is my proposed step system based off what we talked about. 25 an hour starting, which is right where Jason is, and it's lower than the 2 chiefs as far as step 1, 2, and 3. And that upon approval at step 2 basically happens once they hit their 1-year anniversary, and then if it's approved performance-wise. So these were the numbers proposing, and the ordinance, please don't read the ordinance as a final product. Corey, I just took an old one and tried to get the verbiage in the middle correct. I'll send it all off to Bob and he can format it the way he sees fit.
And this guy already has a license there.
He does, he has his class 3 license and, you know, he's, you know, baptism by fire, so he's learning quick. And our plant's in really bad shape, so it's just different bandages every day is what he's trying to do until the new one gets built. We also have the new technician that we hired down there, Mr. Zach Fuller, and he's been doing really good for us. He comes with a background nowhere near that, but he's very eager to learn and he's getting after it. And hopefully, if it goes as planned, he'll be the new operator of record in 10 years. So that was the plan when we talked to him. This is your long-term goals, man. So that's exactly what he was looking for.
Yeah, I think we all discussed this before. Ordinance. Set off ordinance.
Yeah, that's,
Carly? And that's the bargain, actually.
it is a huge bargain. He had the advantage of location and where he wants to live. Okay.
All right.
That one's done. Corey, did you get any answers back from Bob from the email you sent the other day?
I said he'll work on it. That's all he sent me back. He didn't send me any additional information. He just said, he'll prepare
Okay.
them.
So what I've done then on the second sheet is based off the police and fire committee meeting, I have prepared a pay scale to convert one of the positions to a sergeant position. Of course, that would not happen until after the first of the year, and this would be the sergeant pay scale for 2022, 2023, step 1 through 3. And so this is also the staffing ordinance, which has a few changes up here as far as 1 full-time chief, 1 full-time sergeant, 1 full-time K-9, and then 7 full-time police officers. And then if you decide to move forward with the police clerk going full-time and taking over mayor's court responsibilities. If you decide to do that, I've already prepared the police and mayor's court clerk pay chart down here, which is the exact same pay chart that all the clerks in the town, or all the clerks in City Hall make. It's standard across the board. That's what Taylor's folks make, and
So you prepared this then?
I
Bob
did.
Okay, all right, because if Bob had prepared it, then I would assume he reviewed it, but I haven't heard back from him as far as his reviewing of the charter, so.
I just wanted to bring my piece to the puzzle, which was the staffing ordinance and the price points. So if you're good with these price points, or if you want me to adjust them, I can do that in concurrence with him doing his part to see if it's okay to do.
Well, I'm not okay with combining the positions. I wasn't 2 years ago when they tried to do it, and I still just don't think it's a good idea.
Now, I have to agree, I don't think those positions should be combined. Number one, we have a person that came in and took 0 and took it from 0 to a complete orderly product. I just don't think you reward that person by doing that, but, and number two, part-time employees don't get benefits. So full-time employee, then now you're opening up to a benefit package.
She doesn't want the insurance, and the only benefits would be overs. So,
Okay, so, but what if her situation changes?
I mean,
And then, now you're into a $30,000 or $40,000 benefit package.
So I'll speak up here first. So, here's the challenge I'm having. So we have a current position that's paid hourly, working about 32 hours a week, but we don't have set hours, and we're having issues with people being able to pay bills when they come in. So then something has to change then if you're going to maintain a separate position, then there needs to be more structure behind that and some level of accountability to it, right? I understand what you're saying. That position was at 0 and went to something. I'm not saying that, but our police department was at 0 too, but we had to make tough decisions and change to make that occur, right?
Yes.
So we're at a point though here where we're having issues again, where we need to become more seamless and more efficient. And we're not at that position right now. We're struggling as far as making, the ability to have people come in, have set some hours to be able to say, hey, I can pay a bill. Can I pay a bill? Where do I pay my bill? Right? I mean, we have to have some level of, structure and consistency, right? For everybody's sake, because other departments don't know what's going on either.
Has there been any option to try and change things the way they are to make that work?
I don't know. That's not that's not my point. My point is that we budgeted $15,000 for that position right now, and we're already over budget in it for the year, for the last meeting we just had. So, it's like,
I'm sorry, I just didn't agree. Did you have something you wanted to say?
If I may.
Sure.
Allegations have been made that people are coming in here and not being able to pay their bills because I can't be found.
true statement.
The thing of it is, we have a mayor's black box out there and everyone that comes into court is told that is where you drop your payments. If I am not here,
They don't
if
remember the
you will
amounts.
if you will check my timesheets and you guys signed them,
I know I didn't.
No.
somebody signed them.
Tony
Other than
Tony
you.
or I signed.
Other than you. Someone else had to sign over you.
Now, I gotta say before this gets too far, at no point was performance discussed in the last meetings. And honestly, I don't think it's a good idea that we talk about performance in this open forum. I don't think it's gonna work out good for anyone. And I'm really surprised that you don't want to do it considering your concern with the phone not being answered. Because we all get multiple calls a day from mayor's court and there's nobody here to take that call.
I do not. I did that 2 years ago, and it doesn't have anything to do with the people. I don't think it's a good idea.
I don't think it has anything to do with people either, and that's why I think where it's being misconstrued. I think that, it's not about people, it's not about trying to, hurt anybody's feelings. It's about trying to, what's best for the city as far as, the efficiency and the money that we spend for our city. That's what it's about.
May I ask what kind of proof you have about these many, many phone calls that have been made that I have not received?
Okay.
Proof.
I take it to myself, excuse me, I take it to myself. And
Um,
you're not here to take them.
Where have I been?
I don't know. You don't check in with anybody at City Hall. You only work for the mayor.
My car is out there in plain sight for 8 hours a day, and before it was there for 40 hours a day or 40 hours a week, and that included the weekends. And you know that.
I know on
what
Fridays
you're doing. I don't care.
the Fridays
about it.
you're not here.
I gave them my resignation today. But what I'm saying is, I do not like the idea of my work ethics being challenged.
At no point did we challenge your work
Oh,
ethic
yes,
in any
he
meeting.
did too.
How?
He said it in the meeting.
He said nothing about your work and all about consolidation and efficiency.
Excuse me, sir.
It's on video.
It certainly is, sir.
Okay, it's not the place to
Yeah.
argue this out. This never works out good for anybody.
That's, I think what his point was, he was trying to make initially. But I think, honestly, it's not about any individual person. It's not about that. It's about making, sometimes tough decisions for the city. The reality is though, there needs to be something needs to be done as far as structure, accountability. If you were running mayor's court and you're signing her paycheck, you're just taking her word that she's also here for 40 hours a week though, right?
Well, she wasn't here 40 hours a week.
Well, I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
so-
you're,
Every time I've ever come in, she's always been here, and, I got 6
Don't
people
you
that
have
work for
cameras
me,
outside?
I wish we did. We don't.
but I got 6 guys that work for me too,
amazing.
and, so at some point, you gotta say, I do take your word for what you did work, and I can see the results in what she's done, so, it never came upon me to question if she said she was here for 4 hours or 6 hours, or no hours, because she's also told me when she hasn't been here, when there's court, and she goes, I won't be in on Friday, or I gotta go to this place Thursday morning to see a doctor, and then I'll be in at 10 o'clock or whatever, so,
And having two separate people actually would help on checks and balances. I mean, if one person doesn't catch something, the other one might, and I just don't think it's a good idea to see them combined.
I think the point of finance committee is to talk about the monies and we take that to council.
I would agree with that. Well, I mean, so evidently she's resigned. I didn't realize that. So
No, I didn't even.
so does,
everybody.
My point is my work ethics has been challenged.
I can't say anything towards that. I'm not here to work, during the day, so I can't tell you firsthand, about that. So if I was copied on that email. I
No, you
didn't get
weren't,
it
I'm
yet,
sorry.
so- Okay, all right, so,
So as for the money then, I still think it's good to keep it separate. As Dan said, if it's full-time, you don't know what could come, even if it's a different person in the future and it's full-time.
Well, as head of the finance committee, that position was only budgeted for 20 hours a week and we're using it at 32 hours a week and we're gonna blow it out of the water. So anybody else, if I did that in any department, any of them, you would want a justification for that.
Well, then you cut it back to 20, that's just what you'll have to do. I mean, what if we have less money next year?
I say mayor's court barely pays for itself now.
It'll be,
I don't know, we've
All
spent a
around.
lot of money.
that's true.
We've taken in $52,000 this year.
Which I think a year,
52,000.
yeah, a year ago, we probably took in maybe $2,000.
Right, but what's the cost?
It costs her more than,
Oh, I don't think it's 52,000.
no,
Have we actually got cash in hand or that's what people owe us?
No, that's what the mayor's court has taken in.
Right, because I know sometimes people are making payments, right?
Yes, sir, that's
Right.
correct.
So,
That's what the actual money that has been taken into the court.
Yep.
52,000.
Cash in hand. So there's probably still several thousand outstanding that are being done on monthly payments, which is the goal of mayor's court is to get everything paid by within 1 year. So their fine is divided by 12. And there's a minimum of at least a certain amount and then it's one or the other, whether it's 12 months or the minimum is more than that, then, you know, but it's at least a minimum cost. Anyhow, again, kind of a moot point. I do know that she's done a phenomenal job and has brought a lot of order to the way that procedure in there is running now, as well as the programs that we got. Like I said, every time I've always seen her here when I was, because I'd have to come in and sign something, and she would text me and tell me if she was here or not sometimes. I just don't question her, I don't question her work ethic.
To get back to the money point, why are we allowing overtime for that? I mean, I
you'd
guess
have
I
to
don't
ask the
mean
mayor,
it to
man, because
sound
I
that
don't,
way.
I have nothing to do with mayor's court.
No, the part-time officer, didn't you say it was 20 and we're using 32?
No, this position was, paid for 20 and, we're spending 32.
Excuse me, that's not true, sir.
Man,
I
you were
can
not
show
here
you-
when we did
I
the
can
budget.
show you my pay stubs, sir.
You work
I can
32
show
hours a
you my
week?
pay
You work
stubs.
32 hours a week?
I haven't even done that half the time.
So the position was budgeted for 20 hours a week. So we're blowing it by 12 hours. The police was budgeted at 32 hours a week. With zero increase to his bottom line. In fact, he took a loss.
Oh, I remember the discussion.
Well, in the beginning, there was a lot more hours on because of the systems that had to be set up and the backlog that needed to be caught up on.
Sure.
So, I mean, there was that. And I don't know, how many hours you working now?
I think, like, I don't know what I work last week, honestly.
I don't know, I mean, I don't have a time sheet for me.
I mean, I can go in there and get it, but
Well, I mean, it's obvious, we just disagree, so what do we need to do to just move to the next? I mean,
It just goes before council. The only thing that was coming to finance was the pay charts.
I'm fine with the money, that's fine.
It's the standard across the board what all the clerks make.
And what's the difference, did you say, between what they are making now? And this is if you move somebody to full-time, correct?
Are we talking about the clerk or there's two different pay
The clerk,
charts?
The clerk.
The clerk rate, that's the contract rate right now that's in the AFSCME contract for a clerk. So if she were to move full-time, then that would be her new, she'd be step one,
But what is it currently?
that number right there. 2021, step one.
So she's already making step one, and if she moves to this new position, it would be the same.
No, as a part-timer, the part-timers make significantly less.
No.
That's what I said, what is she making
She's
now?
making $12.50.
Yeah, she's making $12.50 now.
and I make $12. I was not afforded the increase.
So that would be a $5 an hour raise.
With double
$800 a month.
double responsibility. So the numbers that were presented, I don't have them in front of me, but if you take the 20 hours that that position's slated for versus the 32 hours already budgeted, you combine those numbers, it's only short $1,500. If you go off the 3,200 or 32 hours per week that's actually being worked, it's a savings of roughly 6,000 if I recall. I'd have to go get my sheet to confirm that exact number. In fact, Carl, if you want, when we get done, I can grab it off my desk and give it to you.
We had it at police and fire, I believe.
Mhm.
They weren't, yeah.
Yep. You ready for the next one?
I am.
Okay. The next one is Harry, so Chief Barber has a capital purchase in mind that he needs to do. It's bunker gear. So what's important about the bunker gear, it has a shelf life and has to be rotated out every so many years. So it's a little here, a little there, and a little bit more. So it just goes through. So he does a little bit at a time, and he's asking for $14,162, which gets him 8 pairs of boots, 5 helmet defenders with the vision of like the thing, shield, and then 4 sets of turnout gear, $2,500 a set. So,
Turnout gears, coats and pants.
yes, sir.
14,000
Mhm.
capital improvement.
Is that, if I recall, is that where you wanted to put it, Corey, when you were talking about it?
I think that's where we've done it before, is we've taken it from capital improvements, but I think Harry had a capital improvement line item in his budget.
Used to, yeah.
He does 30,000, so is that where that's coming from then?
Usually those purchases.
It comes from the 30 that you're already.
Well, no, he's not currently around that. That's why,
Yes, he is.
no, they
Yeah,
got rid
you
of
put
that.
it in the last year's.
Pretty
We
sure.
got rid of it in 18.
It's not in the expense, it's not in the expense form, but I think it's.
I thought they got rid of the capital improvement, so we would have
You
to.
guys
we
got it back
spent,
last
we spent
year.
14,000 out
When
of
we-
that line this year, so.
Yeah, when we did redid the budget last year,
Did we
Put it
put
back
capital
in.
improvement back in?
Yeah. You don't remember?
Yeah, it just doesn't.
You're lucky if I remember yesterday.
Well, me
There's
too,
line items
but I
that's
remember
not in the
that.
expense report, that's all.
do we have those funds in that line item still?
That line item has $1,008.50 left.
And this would be
1,000?
next year though,
Yeah.
right? Or-
No, this was.
No, he needs.
What did it start out at?
It was at 15.
Oh, we've already spent.
It was at 15? I thought we had
I thought
30.
it was at 30.
No, it was cut.
Well.
It was cut
I
as
thought it looked like
It was
30.
the.
the beginning of the year
So much
last year when the whole
No,
budget
I-
was
I
locked
really
down and we
thought
had to
it
ask
was
permission to move any monies.
Yeah.
Cause I was against it, remember?
So we'd have to appropriate some funds there. Does he have any, other funds within his budget that can be moved over to that?
Not really. I mean, you could move from general to capital now. And his department's funded out of general fund.
Right.
Well, so next budget though, everybody's going back to the original 30?
We had talked about that. We haven't got any guidance from you guys, as far as I know.
Well, because the capital budget was just for that, for gear and.
But would it still be the same? Because didn't we cut the capital contribution from 15 to 10?
And then,
I don't think it's. been
Yeah,
15
well,
now.
so
What was it before then?
It was 5.
it was 5.
They just
well,
changed it back to
no,
10.
that,
Okay.
but it started out at like 15, right?
My bad,
85,
my bad.
15, 4 years ago.
Right, and then we went from
We went way down.
90, 95, 5?
Yeah, and then we went up to 90.
Right,
Sounds
so, and then now we're at 85, 10, and
88.
2.
5.
So it's 80,
88,
82. Yeah, 2's for the rec.
2 and 10.
I thought we kept it even. Well, I don't know. So that has to come from somewhere. Do we have it anywhere to get it?
Well, the only place you're gonna be able to pull it from is, I mean, you're gonna have to appropriate that. Because if it's not in his budget, because you can't pull from the general fund within his, budget, because that's where he's paying his incomes, his salaries.
Well, you can pull from the general fund for.
Well, no, I'm saying you have to appropriate. Mhm.
Do we have that in the general fund to pull?
I'd have
The
to
14?
Which is in better shape, capital or general?
The $1,000 you were giving me, that was just capital within,
That was the capital line item.
in the fire department.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
so we can pull from
We can pull
capital.
capital still,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, my suggestion would be to stick within the purpose of each fund. I wouldn't, if the capital's meant for equipment, I would stick with equipment and capital.
Well, it's anything it's the 5-year improvement.
Right, that's what I'm
Gear is
saying.
5
Yeah,
years.
okay.
I
I'm
should've-
sorry, I was thinking within, his budget only initially there, so.
All right, well, I would support going through capital improvement.
Oh, yeah, I would be too. I mean, Taylor, the fund is, how's the
And then
fund
when-
doing? Is the fund doing okay?
Yeah, it's waiting on a reimbursement to close out the Church Street project. So it looks lower than it is right now. It's one of those things where without context, you might get nervous, but as soon as the state reimburses the grant funds for Church Street, the final, I mean, I think it'll be fine. I think the 10% will keep it stable for us.
Do you think we could go back to our 30,000 capital fund for
It's
equipment?
possible. It's possible. I mean, so there was discussion the other day about whether we might move some of the police equipment there as well.
Well, I think at the end of the day, all of them should have your utility, your police and your fire should have a capital improvement. And then just be budgeted that, this isn't a wish list, this isn't, okay, I gotta spend this by the end of the year, you have to spend it wisely.
Mhm.
But, but it's for things like that. I mean,
Yeah,
We had that discussion 2 years ago.
we did have a discussion 2 years ago, and I still agree that you should have a capital improvement, so
So
that's
what-
why you go to your utility department, you go, we have $30,000 in capital improvement for you,
yeah.
let's just get what we need, but you guys can't go over that.
But I'm all for it this way. I want Harry to get everything he needs. I just like it to be, talked about so that everybody
Sure.
knows what it went for.
Well, I think
But I'm
there's
100%
still,
for him
I think there's still
getting
accountability on
everything he
that,
needs.
because
Well, everybody can get online now too and see every single purchase.
Oh,
we do.
yeah, I tried that, didn't I? Okay, it's not that easy.
I like it.
It's not very, now you had a little bit of trouble with it.
Well, I'm looking for what you're looking for.
some of
Yeah.
us are not. and I'm one
So,
of them.
so I think,
Internet
I think
friendly.
it's a good idea to expand some of the use as far as, the capital improvement and, setting aside funds. Scott and I's discussion this week was about, we actually suggest against utilities because those rates are changed by council and by city hall. The income taxes obviously has to go to a vote. So the capital improvement makes a lot more sense to fund departments like Harry's where we'd have to go get a majority vote to increase funding. And as well as police department. And then whereas, Jason's budgets are pretty, they're robust compared to say Harry's.
Right, but if you say, this
So
is
it'd
what
make
we
less
got
sense.
to work with, let's work within this budget.
Sure. Well, and we have, correct me if I'm wrong, we've set aside a significant sum of money inside the water and sewer funds for Jason's equipment, maybe even six figures this year, including vehicles.
But to be fair, they haven't been replaced since the 90s.
Right. I guess what I'm saying is that if you take from there to give to utilities, you're taking from police and fire essentially.
We
You're taking
replaced that
income tax.
1980
Right.
truck.
It makes a, it
Well,
makes,
we can talk about that more when we get to the budget, because we'll have, that's, be a lot more discussion on that, but I think I do agree with you, Dan. I think all the departments do need to have some capital funds. It's just,
It just needs to be managed properly, and if it looks like it's being abused, then you just pull it.
I think that's, I think it's a good idea. So, all right, so I'm fine with it. So pull from capital and
There is such appropriation. The council will see.
Right, that's Harry's.
and,
oh, I need that award letter if it's gonna get Monday's council. Before I forget.
You can come in and sit down, Lisa. There's chairs right there. We're still wrapping up this one, but you guys can hang out.
Thank you. How much was the amount? I'm sorry, can you say it again?
It's 11,160, or yeah, sorry, 14,162. Please double check my math. Okay. Gotta watch them, they're sneaky.
So, did you have anything else?
Yep. Let's see, that one. Bob Finance. Two things, and then I'll be done. The first one is ARPA money. Going through the rules and the suggestions in there. I would like council's approval to take $17,000 of the ARPA money that we received of the $250-some thousand. I want to disperse that to the employees. It would be $500 for every full-time employee, $100 for part-time employees.
Did we already get that money, Carol?
Yes,
Yes, we did.
And that's a lot under that.
it's actually suggested.
Yeah,
So, and it's that, they
Oh,
need,
it's kind of like a bonus for working during the pandemic.
right. The B word's dangerous, but yes.
Okay.
So. that's
Everybody
exactly-
deserves
So
what
I guess-
people does.
I guess it's
They
not,
haven't
I guess
had
it's
anything.
hazard pay, I guess is what they.
Yes.
Right.
They call it.
And if we're fortunate enough to get reimbursed for the police cruisers, because that's still up in the air, as I knew it would be, it'd take a while, I will be coming back to push more to them as well.
I'm
And-
absolutely fine with it.
Oh, yeah, I understand.
I think our employees have gone above and beyond
Oh, that's special.
for, in the last year and a half has been
Well,
a lot of stuff.
everything they've been through too.
Yeah.
Move on with that one, yes.
Thank you.
definitely.
Do you care if I pass on emergency?
Yes.
No, I don't care.
You say the numbers for me.
17,000, it'll be 500, and please double check my math, but I did 500 for
Do you need
full-time
your fire
employees
gear on?
and
appropriation or
100 for
emergency?
part-time.
No, as long as they get through council, we're good.
Well, I mean, so it'd be 60 days for it to mature.
You can do suspension and it doesn't have to be
Yeah,
emergency.
you're good.
So the,
That
So I'm just saying, tie all the appropriations are in that one.
That's not bad.
Can we parse out who owes and who in that?
I wouldn't list names. Is that what you're referring to?
I was anticipating everyone being elected, but we can take out whoever they want, so.
Council.
You're elected, unfortunately. So, like, I know you're not eligible. So it's up to you folks. You can definitely take out all the administrative staff if you'd like.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I thought he meant like put names of the employees. I would.
No, I was thinking
no,
about
no, no.
positions, like.
So then the question comes in about Susan and,
Why do you have to list that though? Can't you just say everyone?
well, I guess what I'm asking is from
I'm
you
trying to
folks.
gauge your intention, actually.
Well, so you're saying full-time employment, so Susan wouldn't be a full-time employee.
Correct.
Correct, I mean,
She's
so,
a part-time.
and she's actually appointed by council.
Well, that's the wild card. So she's
Right.
appointed by council, so.
Well, she didn't get the raise, did she?
uh-uh.
So everybody that got the raise should probably get the bonus.
So you mean
Right.
part-time police and fire wouldn't get it though?
No,
No,
we're police and
They
fire.
got, they got raises. What I'm saying is, so,
Yeah, and then like the mayor's court clerk didn't get the raise.
Right,
There would be
so-
no bonus there. Those positions, there's only like 3 of them, I think, in the
All,
city.
all city employees besides council, well, you include yourself, are all appointed by council technically. So Susan's position shouldn't matter if she's appointed by council or not.
Is she protected? Is she part of AFSCME?
No, she's not a union
And
employee.
Scott, you didn't get.
so I think
If you're
that,
trying to exclude
So what?
I'm not trying to
appointed
exclude
employees,
anybody.
that's everybody.
No, we're not trying to exclude anybody. but
We're
there's
just
certain
trying to
people
say,
that
so if you
Didn't
got
get hit
the,
with the bump when
Right.
the raises went into effect. I think there was like 3 employees that
You're included.
didn't get the
they
raise.
don't get them based on their position.
So I think if they get the raise, then they get the bonus.
So that would take out me and her and Mayor's Court. So, because I was appointed as well, I didn't get to raise the
Yeah.
2% deal, so.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean-
You didn't take me to
Well, that's right,
Cancun, so.
you had a second.
I didn't get to go to Cancun, I'm just saying, I mean,
But you could.
Did you bring us anything back?
Lots of,
sand.
sand, yeah, that's it. The last thing I have
Saying I not.
is to put in your ear, council did not raise the sewer rates back in summertime. The roadmap to paying for the sewer on time was 8% every 6 months. So we have skipped the summer 8%, and the first of the year one's coming up soon. So I actually have a call into our cap to figure out what percentage we need to do to catch up.
I thought we did.
I'm pretty sure because I voted no on that.
We did it in this first of the year, but we did not do midway through. So
I thought I did. In July or something like that.
You guys didn't meet in July. Or you
it was
did?
talked about, but we didn't actually vote on it.
Well, then by all means, we need to get that through, because we don't need to play, you know, it's gonna be at 8 as it is at 8%, but you know, imagine if you try and catch up with 16%,
Mhm.
you know.
And we have, and Scott and I was doing the math as we started budget discussions. We're already kind of, not to use a sensitive term recently, but we're airlifting some expenses out of the sewer fund because we're quite concerned even a large sewer increase will not match the sewer plant payment coming up. That's really what we're all shooting for right now is that first sewer plant payment, which will be significant, almost $300,000. So you'll have to have that surplus in the fund every year just to make that payment. which is.
Well, that's what the 8% every 6 months
Right.
was, is to catch up. I'm just saying we missed the iteration.
Well, we need to put that 8% on
Yeah,
ASAP, or emergency.
I thought we did that too, though.
I did too. I guess we'll have to.
I just want to put it on the radar, that's all.
Well,
It's
no,
very
pretty sure you-
unpopular and I get lots of phone calls about
I
it.
know, it's,
We're certain you didn't, because Robert takes a lot of the brunt of this raises, and he's been dreading the next one, and it's been a while now, so.
Okay, well, I mean, we're gonna have to get that done.
So maybe call a utility meeting after the next meeting, get it on the following one. By then I can have you numbers of what it would have to be increased by. Cause it's not just an immediate 16%, you know.
Right, I know, remember there was a step, but I think it was going down
It was.
as we move forward. So-
percentage wise, it was.
Percentage-wise.
Mhm.
That was after 5 years there, wasn't it?
Yeah,
No,
after we hit the
It was
payment.
3, I
Yeah.
think.
It wasn't 5, but it was after we hit payment date.
so there was a couple of them that were pretty hefty, and then it would start decreasing after that.
And just to clarify what he meant earlier as far as airlifting, we've been scrutinizing the positions and how much they actually, mainly the utilities guys in the middle, not the plant guys, but actually how much hands-on sewer, because they all get paid a little bit out of all the pots.
Right.
So we, actually monitoring that and making adjustments as necessary, so less sewer funds are paying those guys, because they really do more water work, proportionally more water work compared to the sewer fund. So we're moving some of their pension, or not their pensions, but some of their expenses over to the water fund instead of coming out of sewer. Trying to make room, we're trying to lean it out as much as possible because nobody likes increases. I can tell you it'd be a huge win if the prison up on the hill opened back up, because that puppy's what's killing us without that being here, because all the math was done when that thing was still online.
Well, so don't expect that money out of them again.
Yeah.
Because they had nothing but free running water up there with the old troughs. And then water leaks, and the state just never fixed it, and it just kept, that's why we got such a hefty number out of them, but now if they.
Well,
change
that and it was it's 1.5 times rate, which is also
Well,
another reason.
yeah,
why.
but there was water running 24/7. So you won't have that if they change to a women's facility. We'll actually have.
Just for an example, we were looking at this purposely this week as well, of how much catch-up work in general we've been doing on the sewer fund for the last few years. Is this year will be the first year we actually cross the sewer revenues we had when the prison was open. So the prison, we lost about 19%. We've been catching up. So we're actually, it's not like all this work we've been doing has been returning gold to the city. It's more so we're just getting back to where we were after that big change. So.
Right, well, the hospital, hospital back up, we got that coming in now. God only knows what they're gonna, I remember they had an agreement to get it done, but
As far as I know, nothing's been started up there.
nothing's been started. The state approved
Right.
talking to do it, but who knows?
We only have 5 minutes. Did
That's
we
all I
have
had.
anything else to
Well,
get to?
I want to go back to the sewer rate change, so can we afford to sit on it for another week?
I would say since we've blown it since July.
A week isn't gonna.
Yeah.
be-
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So I
I think
can
it'd
give you-
be better if it went through utility also, and he had the numbers of what the actual increase would be.
I can get the proposal from our Curtis at our cap.
Curtis, well, what do you do utility?
We can look
Isn't
at,
our meeting on Monday? It would be nice to have it for, I mean, I'm not voting for it, but it'd still be nice if you guys had it for that.
Vote for what?
No, I think just if we waited, it'd be fine.
we'll catch it at the next meeting. And that way, because is that correct, Taylor? If we get it at the next meeting, we'll have enough time to get it in by Jan 1, because we can't pass that one on emergency.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, it's got to go to 2 readings and then sit for 30 days. So the latest you guys could pass anything for January 1 would be the last meeting in November, which sometimes you cancel or move for Thanksgiving. So just keep that in mind.
We'll get it done for that.
That's all I got. He said, I didn't forget anything.
Yeah, I don't want to push the next meeting, so I'll just briefly say that we have had a citywide budget meeting. Scott and I have had a couple budget sit downs together, including sort of vision boarding up on the whiteboard. The process we're gonna go through is we're gonna give everyone what Scott calls, and now I call the left-right limits. What we're able to afford across all the departments. And then he'll work with the departments one-on-one to put the money where they need it. I sent out, and we're focusing this year, instead of on just incremental budgeting, instead of just building on the past, which is just increasing everything 1%, 2%, 3%. We want folks to really reimagine, do you really need this here, or do you have a bigger priority here? We're trying to budget based off priorities instead of just what we budgeted for 10 years ago. Because I think we're all understanding that City Hall is in a much stronger and more dynamic position than it was 5 or 10 years ago, or at least 5 years ago. So that process between the department heads and city manager will start in the next few weeks. As soon as I can finalize some revenue projections on my end, with a little bit of help from the county auditor and a little bit from the state. And
So you said it's gonna start in the next few weeks?
we've already begun, but the next step. So we're basically moving on to step 3 in the
I was kind of
process.
hoping to have it in the next couple of weeks.
We won't have it in 2
October,
weeks, I wouldn't say.
Because I'd like to have it before, like the night before a finance meeting or something, so I can look over it before I come to the meeting. So coming to the meeting isn't the first time that I'm seeing it, because you're not gonna cover everything in an hour.
Sure.
So if I could see it before that, before that meeting, that way at least, I've already had a chance to go through it a little bit. And so I'll have questions already prepared, hopefully, instead of winging it and then getting back to you and then coming back. Because if you wait, if let's just say, October 1's next week. So then if it's not done by, say, the end of October, then, like just for us to see it, then you're pushing the end of the year before it's, we actually have the budget, so we can approve it.
The goal, the timeline we set currently is, sorry, I'm scrolling. The first draft of the budget submitted to finance before, just after mid-October. So right between October 15th and the 20th. Then you guys basically would decide when to meet. And then the goal, of course, will have to be to have it passed sometime in November at full council.
Could we do that before the 15th instead of the 15th to the 20th?
We could try. There's a lot of changes we're making this year. We're not in a position where the city is paralyzed or poorly led like in the past, thanks to city manager and a lot of the department heads. And I think there's going to be a lot of priorities invested in. And so we just want to make sure we get it right instead of just.
It has to be like December 31st though, right?
Oh, absolutely. Well, yes. Yep. Our timeline obviously is passed by end of November, so that we're riding into the first of the year knowing exactly where we're going.
And that's the temporary budget we have to have the first year, right?
Yeah, first
Yeah.
3 months.
The temporary is just a sliced down version of the full, but
Well, it'd be nice to have a full budget passed for the first time.
It would
let
be.
me put it, if I can put it more concise, the only thing that would delay it into the New Year's or at the end of December would be disagreement on council. So we will have it to you well before then.
Okay, well, since we do have a meeting planned at 7, if no one has anything else. Emergency wise? Have anything? And we'll adjourn this meeting at 7:02.
Thank you.